Carolina being the one that immediately comes to mind. And it just sets an example that we're a welcoming community and we're going to make everybody feel comfortable and welcome. We were renovating the second floor of City Hall as part of the overall renovation, so we're the closest public restroom to council chambers that's going to be the new multi-sex bathroom restroom.
Mayor, you talked about housing. We know there are hundreds of Puerto Ricans still struggling to find a place to live. How is your plan going to help?
Well, it helps everybody. We are way behind the curve in terms of affordable housing units, and it has to be a regional strategy, but we're going ahead as a city community and investing in multifamily projects on Orange Center Boulevard, Mercy Drive, as part of the Creative Village in South Paramore. So we're doing everything that we can to add to the housing stock.
Are you working with Orange County in this plan?
There was an Orange County task force that has a number of recommendations that we're going to try to implement as a region as a whole, but we're not going to wait for the rest of the region. We're going to move ahead and be the leader.
And Mayor, when you're talking about housing,
Loud.
when you're talking about housing, you mentioned about $16 million for investment for youth development.
Louder.
How quickly do you think these homes will be here in our area?
Well, we're doing single-family units in Paramore, which will be available either later this year or early next year. And then the 600 units, some of them have come online on Orange Center Boulevard through the Lift Orlando project. We're working on the ones on Mercy Drive, which should be open early next year. The Hope Church project, we cut the ribbon on a couple weeks ago, so they're all in the pipeline.
Mayor,
how exactly is this restroom going to work? Is it one big bathroom, a couple of stalls, individual bathrooms?
Say again?
This new multi-use, all-user restroom in the government building, is it going to be one bathroom with
It'll have a common area that has the sinks and changing station, and then it'll have stalls that go all the way to the ceiling and have doors that go to the ceiling, so it'll be totally enclosed.
Will that be the only bathroom that is accessible to people with disabilities on that particular floor?
No, but it is one that is directly accessible closest to council chambers.
But there'll still be a men's and women's bathroom that has disability accessible as well too. So all three will have separate bathrooms.
Mayor, you mentioned security being the most important challenge the city faces. What kind of message do you want to put out to residents about how the city is working to keep people safe?
Well, we have focused on property crime the last few years because property crime had a spike about 4 years ago, and as I mentioned, it's substantially down over the last 3 years, and I think people are more aware. So I think my primary message to people would be, we're adding police officers, but we can't do it by ourselves. We need people to be eyes and ears on the streets for us. So one of the ways we were emphasizing that was through the Trust Act. We'd heard anecdotally that there were people who were undocumented that were afraid to report crimes because they were afraid of being deported if they reported something to a police officer. And we read a sad story about that happening to the wife of a Marine who had been stopped at a traffic stop in some other state and eventually years later was deported because of that stop. We want undocumented residents to know they can report crime and we're not going to check their immigration status.
Mayor Dyer, one of the things that didn't quite get discussed, there was a lot of accomplishments there, but what is the next step in terms of the opioid epidemic that's going on, the opioid situation that's going on in our land?
You know, that's a difficult one that we can't solve as a city government. We have to work in partnership with our state government and our federal government to stop the flow of those drugs into our community, identify who is selling those drugs in our community, because it is a true epidemic, and I don't think people realize how many people are dying on the streets because of that.
In terms of the homeless, I know you guys have had a huge effort working with several organizations to get some of the homeless vets off the street. There seems to be an influx of new homeless people and talking with neighbors living downtown and speaking with some of the police officers that are really just creating a whole another kind of problem that needs to be done.
Well, let's distinguish a couple things. So we are at functional zero with our chronically homeless veterans. So that doesn't mean that there might not be a homeless veteran on our streets, but we reached that status about 2 years ago. Because of federal lawsuits, we had to change our blue box criteria. So that means that people that were panhandling or asking for money are no longer confined to certain areas. So I think it is more apparent, and people are in different areas and on the streets, but it is an issue. I'm not going to downplay that at all. That's one of the reasons that we have deployed the ambassador program, redeployed the ambassador program to help individuals in need find those services, but also to help move some of the people along that are simply there panhandling.
All right, last two questions.
Mayor, can you talk a little bit more about the smart city roadmap? What is the overall goal of Smart?
So we have a lot of areas that we've made a lot of progress with smart city concepts, whether it's smart parking, smart transit, the way we collect some of the fees, but we haven't done anything where we've done it holistically. So we are studying the best way to move forward so that we can be an interconnected city. And to me, being a smart city is a city that can use data and use it in a smart way, in a connected way.
Last question.
Mayor, you talked about transportation, kind of the different commuter rails that are being established within the area. What steps is the city kind of taking to assist in getting those partnerships going, especially through the Space Coast County area where there are some issues with?
Well, we just last week opened the southern 17 miles, the southern extension of Sunrail. We continue to look for funding to get the last piece of the original 61 miles, which would be from DeBerry to DeLand. That's something we have to do in partnership with other 4 local government funding partners. But we also, now that we've opened up the southern extension, need to start focusing on how we get to the airport, because that is the next step that we need in our transit system. Thank you very much, and thank you all for coming today.